Another day, another dollar, or so they say. The city skyline gleamed, but all I saw was the giant skyscraper I called my workplace. Rushing through the usual morning crowd, I dodged tourists and coffee spillers, my mind already on the mountain of paperwork waiting for me. I burst into the lobby, making a beeline for the elevator. It was an old, ornate thing, a relic from a bygone era. But today it seemed different. The lights inside flickered with a strange rhythm, and a low hum vibrated through the floor, a sound I'd never noticed before. I shrugged it off, pressing the button for my floor. The elevator ascended smoothly, just like any other day. I saw my colleagues through the glass, waving and chatting, but my attention was elsewhere, drawn to that odd hum. As the doors closed, sealing me inside, my eyes caught something I'd never seen. Tucked away in a dusty corner of the control panel was a faded, forgotten button. It didn't have a floor number. Instead, it had a date etched into it. Without thinking, my hand moved, my finger pressing down. The world dropped out from under me. The elevator shook violently, lights flashing like a strobe, the gentle hum turning into a deafening roar. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The doors slid open and my jaw dropped. My office floor looked wrong. The furniture, the decor, even the air itself felt old-fashioned. I stepped out cautiously, my heart pounding in my chest. What just happened? My coworkers were there, but they were dressed in clothes straight out of a vintage movie. One of them was reading a newspaper, and as I glanced at the headline, the date jumped out at me. It was 50 years in the past. It couldn't be. An elevator that travels through time? My mind reeled. I had to test it. Rushing back inside, I scanned the panel. There was another date button, this one glowing faintly. I pressed it. The violent journey started again, but this time when the doors opened, I wasn't in the past. Outside the window, cars were flying between sleek, impossibly tall buildings. I took a tentative step into a future I couldn't comprehend, marveling at gadgets that looked like pure science fiction. Suddenly, an old janitor appeared beside me, his eyes holding a strange wisdom. He wasn't just a janitor. "Be careful, kid," he warned, his voice raspy. "Ripples in time can become tidal waves." Before I could ask what he meant, the elevator doors chimed again, opening to a new scene. It was the 1920s. The office was filled with the clatter of typewriters and the urgent ticking of telegraph machines. Men in slicked-back hair and women in flapper-style dresses rushed about. In my haste, I bumped into a man sending his briefcase scattering. He gave me a sharp, annoyed look. I recognized his face from a history book. Panicked, I scrambled back into the elevator. The next stop was the 1960s rotary phones, psychedelic patterns on the walls. Then it became a blur. A montage of moments flashed before my eyes. A vibrant parade from a forgotten decade. A historic news report on a fuzzy black and white TV. Then Back to the Future with its holographic ads painting the sky. I fumbled with the controls, trying to understand the logic, but the dates seemed random. The old guide appeared again, a ghostly figure in the flickering light. "Every choice matters," he whispered. "The timeline is more fragile than you know." His words echoed in my ears as I realized the terrifying truth. A single misstep could change everything. Just as I was starting to grasp the rules, the elevator malfunctioned. It started lurching, skipping between dates at a dizzying speed. The gentle hum became a scream of stressed metal. We landed hard, the doors groaning open to chaos. I was in the middle of a massive protest, shouts and sirens filling the air. I had to get out to stay invisible. My guide's warning about ripples rang in my ears. Through the crowd, I saw a famous historical figure right in the path of danger. My heart stopped. If they got hurt, history would change. I couldn't let that happen. Acting on pure instinct, I caused a small, anonymous diversion, just enough to alter their path and lead them to safety. My interference had a cost. The elevator flickered wildly, time jumping faster and faster. Through the window, I saw the futuristic city I just visited, now dark and crumbling, a skyline of ruin. My small ripple had become a tidal wave. "You must correct the course." The guide's voice boomed, his image flickering on the elevator walls. It was a race against time itself. A strange puzzle of lights and symbols appeared on the control panel. I had to solve it to stabilize our journey. The elevator shook, sparks flying from the ceiling as I desperately tried to align the patterns. The whole structure groaning as if it would tear itself apart. Time became a swirling vortex of light and color. Finally, with one last desperate move, something clicked. The violent shaking subsided. The doors opened. I was back in an office, but this one felt familiar. It was the 1980s, the era of my own childhood. With a newfound understanding, I carefully pressed the button for my own time. The journey was smooth, quiet. The doors opened to the lobby of my building, right where I started. I stepped out, my legs a bit shaky. The city outside looked normal, mostly. I walked through the lobby, and then I saw it. A billboard across the street was advertising a different product. A colleague walked past. Their hairstyle was subtly different from how I remembered it this morning. My little ripple hadn't vanished completely. It had left its mark. I looked back at the elevator. That faded, dusty button seemed to glow with a faint, knowing light. I couldn't help but smile. My ordinary life was never going to be ordinary again. I turned and walked toward the exit, leaving the elevator humming quietly behind me, a silent promise of adventures yet to come. The doors slid shut, and the world faded to black.